welcome to the first annual World Championship match for Runewars Miniatures game. I'm Brooke Robinson.
And I'm Jim Cartwright. And we're going to jump right into a little bit of the analysis of the up game. It looks like we have Andrew Miller versus Dustin Foran. We've got in the top four here, we do have 3 of the Latari Elf units or armies and 1 of the Wykar.
Yeah, so Wykar the Undying, this is our last faction in the running to win it all. We don't know what's going to happen. Probably a lot of ranged attacks today. We've got some carry-on lancers. We've got reanimate archers versus deepwood archers. So we don't really know.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. No, it looks like we've got specifically for the Latari. We've got an Aliana Summersong running the Ambush Predator. What that's going to mean is, as the game goes on, Aliana is not going to be able to be targeted by those reanimate archers, and it's going to allow her to get in close. And the Wykar player is certainly going to have to look out for that.
Right, and over on the side of the Undying, we've got I always mess up his name, Ankar Maru.
Mm-hmm.
But not as a hero, rather as an infantry upgrade. So he's going to be a little weaker than he would normally be, able to take 3 runes instead of 5, but keeping him surrounded by an entire troop of archers that he can just keep bringing back from the dead is really going to be something tough for to go up against.
Absolutely. You also have a large presence from the Latari with Leonx riders, both running two entire units, each 6 trays, so running at their full capacity. One of them is sporting Megan Sinduin in her cavalry section, so in her cavalry upgrade, and both of them running Moment of Inspiration for that extra white die, as well as the bullpennon to get that extra impact.
And the Latari is really going to be interesting today because they are the newest faction to join Runewars Miniatures game. So one of the reasons that they might have done so well this year is that people haven't really seen them a whole lot. They don't know how to go up against them. They move very differently. There's a lot more turn and wheel action abilities that we haven't seen in the other factions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they are able to, they have a lot more mobility than any of the other factions out there, and I don't think some of the Deccan and sadly my Deccan are no longer around. Some of the Deccan and the Wykar players are not used to that kind of mobility from their opponents.
Right, especially the hero of the core set for the Latari Elves, Aliana Summersong. She's got 5 different, she's got 5 white modifiers on her command tool that can be paired with anything. So she is probably the most mobile unit in the game. Absolutely,
yeah. That makes her giving that so many options at the end of her dial, where your opponent really doesn't know what she's going to be using. Aliana in general, especially with the Maycorn's Bequest, being able to go in and change up runes after energy tokens are cast, you kind of recast them to be able to get a little bit more of what you need as a Latari player. Those runes are so important.
Right. Going forward into the game, we've got the Ithuk who are going to be available in the next couple
time soon. I know you're excited for them, Brooke.
Yeah, the Flesh Rippers, they are going to be able to match the Leonx speed for speed, but they also tap into the unstable energy rune a lot. So they're going to be able to match the Latari blow for blow going forward in the future of the game.
Yeah, this being the first World Championship and only these first 3 factions out, is once the Ithuk show up, it's going to completely change the field. I was looking earlier, and I noticed that we had just over 50% of our players were playing Wykar, with 25% given to each of the Latari and Deccan, which means that I think you're going to find that split from the Wykar faction going to the Ithuk, and have a really nice spread of about 25% going to each faction.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that the Wykar player is going to have to do in order to deal with specifically Aliana with her Ambush Predator?
Well, I think it's going to have to be a lot of range attacks. I see that Dustin Foran's got some carry-on lancers in his army, so I think that he's really got to get those out there quickly, hit the Latari with some blights, and then get out of there.
Yeah, those blights are going to make a big difference with the being able to just kind of throw blights out there. We've got 2 carry-on lancer units coming from the Wykar player, and with that potential blight out there, it's going to make the some of those archers potentially ineffective at range with blight put on them. So I'm looking here, noticing that we are seeing, to no surprise, Wind Rune on the Deepwood Archers. That's going to give them that speed 1 shift, or I should say speed green, natural rune shift. And that's going to make them be able to really kind of get around the board and sometimes around their opponent.
Yeah, I didn't see any Amelin Scions in Andrew Miller's faction, so that was something that really surprised me. I would think that he would want to get those Scions out there with the Vicious Roots upgrade so that you can really try and hold your enemy down and then just destroy them.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Leonx Riders, though, they already come with impact built in, right? So they're already going to be giving a panic token whenever they actually collide in that charge. With the Bull Pennant, it's going to give that extra panic token. So you're looking at a unit that's going to really be able to take advantage of the morale deck and start to be able to dig through there for very powerful effects that they can trigger.
Wykar does not have a cavalry unit coming in with the Death Knights would be their normal one. So I think that he's really going to try to hit the Leonx Riders with the Reanimates. Unfortunately, that's not going to work on Aliana, though.
No, Aliana is definitely going to stay. Probably, if I was running this list, I would probably run Aliana, depending on the setup. When we obviously we're waiting on what that's going to look like, but I would probably run Aliana directly in front of their archers, directly in front of the Reanimates, one of the units, and get into that as fast as possible. Not only does it shut down, with the ambush predator, it shuts down their ability to actually go in and get into combat with her. But once they're engaged, they're not going to have the ability to fire because they do not have. Actually, I take that back. Close quarters targeting is on the Reanimate Archers, so that's going to allow them, once engaged, able to actually shoot back with their ranged attack.
So the question is, do you think that the Reanimates over on the side of Wykar are going to be dangerous?
They're especially dangerous with Ankar Morrow. Having the ability to use that, he builds it off stable runes, right? He adds a stable rune number of trays to a unit at range 1 to 5. That's going to be, you're always going to have one stable rune out, right? That's why it's stable. So every round it's going to have the potential of 1 to 2 trays that on an action he's going to be able to basically fill that reanimate position. So yeah, that's going to be something to definitely look out for. I think the Carrion Lancers are just there to get their blight out and potentially disrupt. I know that I've seen play recently where the Carrion Lancers are used as a positioning tool to block an incoming charge from a larger unit, potentially something like the Leonx Riders, and get them out of position. The Dispatch Runner on the Archers is also interesting. It allows it's going to allow the Deepwood Archers to use an action to actually give another attack to Leonx Riders that are within range, which means that not only are they going to get that initial impact with their charge, they also have the potential to get that extra attack and really lay into the unit.
One area where the Latari seem to be lacking compared to your beloved Dakan is that they don't have the same ability to get the boons that they might need going up against Wykar the Undying.
Yes, that's true. The one thing that the Dakan can do is gain a good significant amount of inspiration tokens and be able to kind of counter that blight. The Latari don't have the option to do that. They're going to have to take actions, precious actions, to be able to actually rally and get their tokens. They don't have the free ones coming off surges or the free ones coming off other units. So they're going to definitely have to pay attention to how they're going to clear that blight.
But just because they are so fast going across the field, that probably will help balance them out a bit. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. Latari's strength is definitely in their mobility. So with the simultaneous orders is also on those Deepwood Archers. So you're looking at a skill action now that when the archers are in the proper position and when they can use Dispatch Runner to great effect on the Leonx Riders. They're going to also be able to use simultaneous orders and do either their Wind Rune to, again, similar to what you were mentioning, get out of the way, right? Get out of range of that Blight or out of the line of sight. Or they're going to be able to use, they do have a Rallying Starling. So each ally at range 1 to 3 can choose to either remove a Bane or ready an upgrade card. So that is actually going to be the answer that specifically the archers are looking for. They're going to want to position them center to the board, right? They're going to want to be able to kind of draw all the other units around them to be able to effectively both give orders with Dispatch Runner and be able to pull off Banes. The question is going to be whether or not Dustin recognizes that and charges that centerpiece.
Mm-hmm. I see that the Latari do have the Rallying Starling. I didn't notice that earlier. Thank you for pointing that out.
Absolutely.
From the Latari's Infantry Command Unit Upgrade expansion. I don't think that... Oh, yep. They've got the Raven Standard Bearer over on the other side with Waikar.
Yeah, the Raven Standard Bearer is pretty much a standard, like that's a go-to upgrade for Reanimate Archers, right? So normally on the dial, the Reanimate Archers would be able to use their ranged attack at 5, on initiative 5. The Raven Standard Bearers allows them to drop that to 4. And so now where, especially when you look at the Latari's archer units in terms of when they fire, their range attacks are also at 5. So in that archer battle, you have now the Reanimate Archers are able to fire at a turn earlier, which is going to basically give them an advantage when they are paired up against the Latari archers.
Mm-hmm. You know, just going into the lore, I'm interested in Waikar the Undying, and I love the look of the Standard Bearers especially, but it can't compare to the Ithuk. I mean, you've got, the elves have their lovely Rallying Starling, but the Ithuk, what they've got, I gotta tell you.
Yeah,
okay, so it's
everyone
called a
wants to know.
Shriek. It's called a Shrieker. So these would be Ithuk Berserkers that have defied the rule of the Witches of the Blood Coven.
Okay.
So as punishment, what the witches do is they tie them down, torture them, use magic to keep them alive, then literally remove their lungs from their bodies, enlarge them, and reattach them to their backs, break their jaws so that they're permanently open, and then burn fire into their minds until they have entirely gone mad and have no wills of their own, and then they use them to shout orders on the battlefield.
Okay, you seem really excited and happy to tell me all of that. I'm a little bit nervous here.
Oh, yeah, no, they're adorable.
Yes.
I mean, and then they've also got the Flesh Rippers, who are just my beloved demon puppies that you can just unleash on your enemies. They will run and just tear flesh from bone, drag you down to the forces of the infernal, blood spilling everywhere. Good times.
You definitely have your lore locked in. So would you say that you are most excited if there was one particular unit for the Ithuk?
Flesh Rippers.
Not even going to hesitate.
Rippers.
I can't even finish. Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
But they do also have the Scuttling Horrors, which are really cool. So they're giant demon crabs. They look a little bit like Hellboy. So they have their tail, and then they have their 2 claws, and there's mouths on each of those 2 claws and their tail that they can use to just like suck the blood from their enemies. And then by spilling blood, they can make sacrifices to the Infernal and bring forth more demons.
All right. Well, I'm sure that you are not the only person looking forward to the Ithuk. My Dakan are going to have a force to be reckoned with.
I mean, they do have their rune golems from the County of Kel, and those are very sweet and adorable. But I mean, you're going up against actual demons, man.
That's true. That's true. But you know, the baronry of the Dakan is ready to stand fast against all evil that comes its way.
Right. They will also have the Latari helping them out a bit, I guess.
Well, if I bring Kari with me, yes, I can bring over some archers and see what we can do.
Right. I don't know if you've noticed, but Latari are kind of jerks. Like, they're just hanging down there in their southern forest, and they're like, oh, you have an undead wizard who has come back and vowed vengeance upon all the people in your area. Cool. We're just going to hang back here. And it's not until the come back who they thought were dead in the Rue Darklands that they're like, oh, maybe we should unite and try to fight the evil people instead of just hanging out by ourselves and watching as other people get slaughtered.
So pretty much they only jump into the fight once they know it's winnable and or it threatens their way of life. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. I think they might also feel a little guilty because the Ithuk are closely related to the elves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when they are cast down from the, what's it called? The Empyrean.
Okay.
So when they were cast down from the Empyrean, there was just one guy who was like, oh, I don't like how things are going. So this was Morin? I wrote down the name. I'm sorry.
No worries. The lore.
Malcorn.
Malcorn.
Oh, my bad.
Okay. Malcorn, isn't that the Malcorn's Bequest is one of the upgrades we have on Aliana. So that's an elven what? What is Malcorn?
So Malcorn was actually a leader within the Latari when they were first cast down, when they fell.
Okay.
But he didn't really agree. So he thought that rather than just trying to earn their way back to the Imperium, that they should embrace the forces of the Infernal to make themselves stronger, which the rest of the Latari disagreed with.
Sure.
And then we had the entire battle at the First Darkness, elf fighting elf. Ooh, it was a mess.
Lots of bad things going on there.
Exactly.
Well, it looks like we're getting ready here for deployment soon. We're going to be able to take a look at it. Looks like for our objective, we have bounty, and for our deployment setup, we've got a careful approach. So bounty is going to be interesting. It basically is going to force each player to choose one of their units to put up as bounty, and if that unit is destroyed, their opponent claims the objective token that's worth 75 points at the end of the game.
So, if it were you, looking at the two factions, which one would you give up?
So, honestly, I think I would probably, since I'm more familiar with the Latari, I probably would choose Aliana, and here's why. If you've lost Aliana, it's already pretty bad, potentially, right? And she's got Ambush Predator, which protects her early. So as long as she stays out of melee range, right? As long as she's not getting involved in getting engaged with the reanimants, and she's only going for the archers, that's going to give her that kind of ability because you basically shut down half of the opponent's units, right? The other thing you can't, the reason I wouldn't do either of the Leonx Riders, they are a little bit squishy. So I would worry that they could go down easy and unexpectedly. Aliana has a little bit more control.
Right, but with their speed, you can just keep the Leonx Riders out of trouble.
That's true, but they're that aggressive unit, right? Like you want them to pounce on something. You see what I did there? Those cats, those giant cats. I know it's terrible.
This is going to be a thing all
day. It is all day. It'll be all night. Stay tuned for all the pouncing and cat jokes you can handle. So who would you put it on for the Y car?
Oh no! Don't ask a question that you're not prepared to answer yourself. All right. I think that I would probably listen to my own strategy and put on a Carrion Lancer and try to keep him back and out of trouble because he's got that ranged attack, so I don't have to put him forward.
Sure.
Much.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, it looks like we're about ready to take a short break, and when we come back, it's going to be the Y-car. I don't know why I can't get that right. It's going to be the Y-car versus the Latari, and we will see you then. Is it okay? We're good?
Yeah, you look fabulous.
Oh, hey, we're live.
Oh, hi. We didn't see you there.
So our players are still setting up. They're preparing to set up. I did notice, however, they're snazzy new range rulers.
Right, they look fantastic. I really want one of those.
I know, right? Yeah, the Deccan one is not on the table or in the final four, but they're.
Well, the Ithuk one doesn't exist yet.
That's true.
So
Yeah, you don't have one yet. Yep, that's true. But yeah, we do have the Latari one is a beautiful bright green. While the Y-car one is, hey, I said it right that time. The Y-car one is, that deep hue of purple.
Like emerald and amethyst.
Ooh, yes. Very poetic. So yeah, we were talking a little bit about the objectives and the deployment zones, but I'm really curious to see what kind of terrain each of the players brings to this event.
Well, I think for Latari, the more terrain, the better, because I don't think that the reanimates are going to be able to maneuver around that nearly as well.
That's true, and the Leonx Riders are actually, in their formation, are 2 across and 3 deep. So they're going to be able to fit in a little bit tighter spaces, but still bring that really, really hard. I would expect the Latari player to be running the Latari Memorial and the Demorian Fisher, I believe it's called. But the Latari Memorial is another one that basically allows them to get those inspiration tokens that you wouldn't normally see with the Latari. So since he already has, since Andrew's already been with the Rallying Starling, I expect to see the Latari Monument to also be in his kit.
And also with this objective, the more terrain, the better. Again, because whichever unit you've decided to put up, you can just hide it for as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. With the Waykar, looks like we are getting set up here. So each of the deployment zones have already been established. And it looks like we've got the objectives on the table and the face-down stacks for the terrain. So I'm interested to see what each of these players have brought. But yeah, so Careful Approach has the players setting up in each of the corners. And we've got the objective Bounty. Brooke, why don't you tell us about Bounty?
So Bounty, starting with the player who did not choose this card, each player nominates one of his units and places an objective token on its unit card. Then during play, when a unit with an objective token on its card is destroyed, that unit's opponent scores that objective token.
Yep, and it's worth 75 points, which when you're talking about 200-point armies, that is a significant amount of points. So it looks like the runes have been cast. No, not yet, sorry. Looking up in that top corner there.
Can I just say, like, our graphics team is amazing. Look at that.
They really are. That looks fantastic up there. So I correct to form, the Latari player did bring the Demorian Fisher Latari Monument. Looks like the Demorian Fisher side is out. And then we are also pulling out Rocky Outcrop and the Wild Root Patch and the Thorn-Choked Circle. So it looks like the Thorn-Choked Circle side is out. And that's going to give us, after each end phase, each unit occupying it is going to suffer a damage. So it's going to be, it has the potential to hold 4 capacity, but it's not somewhere they want to be.
I see. Oh, never mind. They're still moving them around.
Yeah, it looks like they're still doing the deployment. And we've got the spikes, not the Rocky Outcrop. Those are deadly 1, which means you are deadly 3, actually. And those are ones you do not want to run into. Now, it looks like there's some very specific maneuvering going there. Yeah, putting that in the middle as the Waykar player is really smart, especially because we talked about earlier how you're going to want your Deepwood Archers kind of central so you can maneuver the rest of your army. This is going to prevent that pretty well because it's going to keep everything out of line of sight. It's going to keep them back. It's really going to force the Latari player to work around that. Right. So it looks like so we only have the one piece left to place, the spikes. If I was going to place here, looking at the 2 lists, probably want to cut off. So interesting move. He's going to put it a little bit further away down the edge of the board. More to keep it out of the way would be my guess, and kind of keep it off the battlefield. It's not going to really play too much into this. I would have probably tried to throw it into the space just to the side of the Waykar deployment to try to bottleneck them in and force them out of that top side. But it looks like Dustin has chosen to kind of leave it off the board and let it be just off to the side. So The Fisher is also an interesting move there. So before each end phase, each unit at range 1 suffers a wound. Placing it there is really strong. And you can see here with the first placement by the Wycar player, we've got he's forced to place those units at further range. Not that starting there is going to be a problem. It's more about you're forcing an opponent to, that's going to force the Wycar player to stay away from that as much as possible, which really does kind of limit his options in terms of movement.
Mm-hmm. Wow, he's really going to be relying on the Leonx riders here. Seems to be getting them set up to maneuver around that thorny bush right away early in the round.
Yeah, with the looks like one of the reanimate archers getting set up. It's an interesting placement, right? He's gonna. It almost at this point kind of becomes a telltale sign of where he's going to have to go with that unit, right? Like he's going to have to move that far enough out to not end up running into or near that Fisher. Otherwise, he's going to be taking the damage.
Mm-hmm.
So the other Leonx rider, the one with Megan Sinduin, is poised going. We're going to say it's facing north, right? So we're going to go. So it's north towards the edge of the board. The Latari players on the east and the Wycar players on the west. So this will be a little bit easier to call then when we can use the directions.
But based on placement right now, I'd say that he's Andrew is really planning on flanking right out the gate, since he's got his 2 units facing not opposite directions, but 90-degree difference.
Yeah, they are perpendicular to each other, so they basically can come off 2 separate directions and kind of perform like a pincer move on Akar. It is interesting though, because it does leave Aliana's alley to move in. It closes that, right? So so now Aliana's going to have to start back further and is not going to be able to get in as quickly as at least I would have potentially tried to do. But at the same time, I'm also not the one sitting at the top 4 table at Worlds.
Right. I foresee this I foresee Andrew trying to make this go down like the Battle of the Bastards in Game of Thrones. He's going to try and get the reanimates in the middle and then surround them with his massive cavalry and just crush everyone to death in the middle.
Well, and hopefully in the case of if that's what he's hoping for, then he definitely wants to make sure that there's no reinforcements coming from the Erie.
Oh, wouldn't that have been so much cooler if the Erie had carry-on lancers?
That would have been terrifying.
Oh, man. I mean, it's not like they would have needed any prior setup within the universe. Just bring them in.
Just bring them in, sure. Okay, so we have now the placement of Aliana, and it looks like she's anticipating the movement. Now, see, here's where I find it interesting, because knowing that happening, you're kind of telegraphing, right, how far and how fast. Because if you look at Aliana, she is actually, at least from our angle, it looks like she is still slightly behind. If she were to go straight, she would run into Megan Sinduin's Leonx riders. So she's going to have to keep pace with that unit. It looks like we have the we've got the handshake at the start, and we've got the first runes cast. All right, so it looks like we have 2 stable runes, 2 unstable runes, and a natural rune.
Mm-hmm. But Andrew's got Megan Sinduin in there, so it doesn't matter which runes are cast, she'll be powerful no matter what.
And recast right back into it with her ability. So that didn't change a whole lot. Here we go with the second one. And nope, right back into it again. So really trying to pull those natural runes or at least shut down the unstable runes, but no luck for the Latari player. No luck for Andrew. So it looks like they're setting their dials. What do you think? If you're seeing the positioning now, if you are Dustin, what are you setting up here? I threw you on the spot.
Let's see here. Well, it's just they're both archer heavy,
Yep.
so I don't really know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because at this point, the Leonx riders are going to try to get in there quickly, right? And if you look at their dials, if you look at the Leonx rider dials, so they can delay. So they can wait until 7, until initiative 7 to move forward, right? And then they're able to.
Right, but they also have the blue March 2 modifier.
That's true. That is true. But they're not going to want to go completely straight, right? Because, or at least not the one without the one facing west. If they go 4 then 2, they're going to almost be across the entire board and facing west, whereas your opponents are coming from the north.
Right, but this is only round 1, so you have time to get out of that.
That is true. That is true. I'd be curious to see how. I think these first moves are going to determine how aggressive our players are, right? Mm-hmm. So are they the ones who are going to stand back?
With that many Leonx, they're going to be aggressive.
That is true. That is true. So then the question becomes, is Dustin a more defensive player? If we think that Andrew is going to be the more aggressive player here, is
well,
Dustin?
I think so. Just based on the fact that he didn't put any Death Knights in his army, I think that really indicates that he is a more defensive player.
So you might not have known this, but this is actually the Death Knights and the heavy crossbowmen for the Deccan were not legal for today's tournament.
Oh, no.
So that's okay. That's okay. But yeah, that is probably the reason for no Death Knights.
Oh
but,
yeah, they just came out last Thursday, right?
They did.
Yeah.
So they go legal next week. So unfortunately, no Death Knights here. But
my apologies.
Oh, no worries. Listen, you have all that lore locked down. You don't have to worry about all that other stuff. So let's.
But I would think that you would be really excited about the heavy crossbowmen because they're going to bring some much needed range support to the Deccan.
Yes, absolutely. While it was nice to be able to field a unit of the Latari archers, being able to actually set up a dedicated range. I tend to gravitate towards range play. So.
But Deccan is your favorite faction?
I know.
What?
It makes no sense. Well, first of all, so I like the honorable factions, right? I like the, the Latari wasn't out at launch, and the Deccan was. So, and then I'm loyal to a fault, maybe, but I love my Deccan. So, this is going to give me that. And you know what? I knew eventually we would get some range support. So I held in there, a little bit of faith.
But you see, you've also told me on a previous day that your favorite unit was the rune golems.
That's true. I mean, I'm fickle. What can I say? So it looks like Ankar Maro getting to work early, adding 2 more because of the 2 stable runes, adding 2 more trays to his reanimate unit, which just starts to get scary. Mm-hmm. So. That was that. We're finally gonna see. Okay, here come the one of the Latari Deepwood archers. So I'm curious to see what this formation is. He's got them really tight into the Leonx riders, right? Like they're really close. So any kind of turn move here, yep, is okay. So it looks like we're shifting up just a slight bit. Yeah, that's actually very defensive on the part of the Latari. Here comes the second shift, which is what I anticipated. So this is keeping them back, which makes sense for the archer unit. They're going to have to get around. The interesting thing here is by going before the Leonx riders. Yep, it's still, though, the concern here is the Leonx riders are going to basically have to move out, right? They're going to have to march straight out. And then looking at their dial.
But it's round 1, so you have time to come back from that.
That's true. I think maybe I just play too aggressively. So again, we've got I'm sure there's a couple players out there who would agree with that. If I've played you before, I tend to come out a little hot.
So maybe you would do well with the Athuk, because the Athuk, they've got a whole lot of speed and they're going to come out really quickly. but a lot of their abilities also cause damage to themselves. So you have to hit your enemy hard and hit them fast, or else you're not going to last long.
But see, the Deccan also have...
Oh,
okay,
bringing
so
it back to the
I
Deccan.
know, we're just going to roll it back
Okay.
in. All right, so it looks like we've got Aliana backpedaling. So that's not a move I would have anticipated.
That's very defensive.
It's very opposite of what I predicted earlier in the pregame, where I thought that she would be much more aggressive and in the face of the Y-car, but no.
But she's so valuable. Maybe he's just holding her back to see what his enemy does.
That's true. You know, the thing that always catches me, a little nudge there, the thing that always catches me is how quickly that final round comes. You know, it's surprising how you think you've got all your plans laid out, and you have all your turns kind of set up, and then around turn 3 or 4, everything kind of turns on its head.
Right, and it's all about the runes. You don't know when they're going to turn against you. And if you get like a bad set of runes for like 2 or 3 rounds, you have to change your entire strategy around it.
That is true. It's something that is kind of unique to Runewars, at least in terms of the games that I've played, where you have to constantly shift strategy based on these randomly tossed runes. And you've got some ways to manipulate, but...
right, that's what I really like about Runewars, is there is the element of luck, but you will never be put in a situation where it's just about luck.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, there is plenty of skill to be had. And I think part of that skill is figuring out how to work around bad rune tosses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got our first kind of what I would say. So we're actually almost in the opposite of what we predicted, right? So the Latari player playing a little bit more on the defensive side, while the Carrion Lancers come screaming out.
That is probably what I would have done if I were Dustin as well.
All right.
Get them out there, inflict those blights, and then get them out of there. Now, he might not be planning on getting them out of there at the end, but...
Yeah, it looks... it's hard to judge range a little bit, but it looks like he's got... he should be able to be within range to cast that blight on that Leonx rider. But we'll have to see. Like you said, it's only round 1. So, yeah, for those who are just joining us, we are at the first ever Runewars World Championship. We are looking at one of our top 4 games. We have the Y-car versus the Latari.
Y-car.
Y-car, yes. But by the end of the day, I might get that correct. I know it is a Y-car. Why? I don't know. But no, yeah, I'm gonna. It's months of saying it incorrectly. I have to retrain myself.
Mm-hmm. But you see, that's what you get for just playing with the Deccan.
That's true. Mm-hmm. So some shifting going on here. I'm sorry, some reforming. And it looks like, is there just, so we've got the inspiration, some shifting here. Okay, again, very defensive move, not advancing, just kind of holding the fort, letting the Y-car come to them.
Well, I mean, the army of Y-car, you can refer to them as the Deathborn Legion if you would like. I mean, I guess technically that's really more for the advanced warriors who were the first brought back under Y-car, but
So it looks like Dustin manages to keep all of those units beyond range 1, so no damage from the Fisher. That's good. That's good for his part. They are looking to recast runes here, which we'll get in a moment. So here comes the toss. All right, so a little bit of everything. Looks like we've got the, although this is all going to change. So
still not the natural runes that I'm sure the Latari were hoping for.
Absolutely. So there's that second natural rune. No one's stable there. Is he going to toss again? It doesn't look like it, or that's what they're discussing. So I haven't seen anyone reach for dials yet. Yeah, this must be a decision point.
Right. I mean,
here.
Is it worth the risk?
That's true.
I mean, he's found the 2 naturals. That's not bad.
Yep, nope, he's just going to advance the dial, pass it over.
And then we are going to begin our round 2 as players grab their dials and start setting them up.
And now they're starting to get a feel for how the other person is playing. So really where the element of chess comes in.
Yes.
You're trying to not only formulate your own strategy, you're trying to read your opponent's mind, figure out what they're going to do. And if they don't act according to your predictions, you have to keep learning, keep re-strategizing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it looks like, and for those who were wondering at home, if you haven't noticed, we have the range rulers that they took home today as top players of their faction. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a matter of now that Andrew has seen how Dustin has come out, and now that Dustin has seen how Andrew has stayed back, it's really going to be a matter of how do they react to that.
Right. Oh, I see him measuring the distance, seeing if he can hit that carry-on lancer right away. Let's see here. Looking at the Leonx Rider's command tool, can he do it? Well, they have a turning charge modifier that they can pair with, probably the speed 4 march and initiative 7. But if he moves it down to initiative 4, he can hope that maybe the carry-on lancer will have moved forward by that point. But they've got pretty good range, so maybe Dustin's just going to leave it leave the carry-on lancer where he's at and try to execute a ranged attack.
Yeah, if the carry-on lancer is going to try to move, you're ideally looking at initiative 4 or 5, right? They have their 2 march on 4 and their 3 march on 5. So looking at that, pairing it against where the Leonx Riders are at, I don't think at 1 or 2, at 1 or 2 march, which is which is in the early parts of the Leonx Rider dials, I don't think they can make it to the carry-on lancer. So if they're then banking for a later march, as the Wacar player, you have to think, well, they're going to come in at 7, so it's probably best to, might be a good opportunity to use their spit ability, get that blight on there, which is going to be a yellow modifier, or I'm sorry, a yellow action. And then they do have the modifier of March 3. That might be a little too aggressive, but it does give options to be able to throw the blight and get out of the way.
Right, but if you are worried about those Leonx Riders, and if you're Dustin and you're controlling the carry-on lancers, then you can instead use the +1 defense modifier that's also yellow.
That is true. The only thing I would be worried about is Leonx Riders are coming in very strong. And they do end up rolling, when they are in melee, they roll a red and 2 blue. So that amount of, that dice can put a lot of those dice can put a lot of damage out. And even with a +1 damage, the carry-on lancer still only holds, yes, it brings their defense up to 4. Yes, they have 3 health. But the damage that can be output by that could definitely make the carry-on lancer, or at least Dustin, take pause, right?
Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, like, his other option, if we're predicting that he's going to execute the spit attack, which it's so great that, a spit attack exists, then what's he going to do with a March 3? He's just going to move the Lancer deeper into enemy territory. Is that what he wants?
If and that's a good point. That is a good point. I guess it would be dependent on also what you think Megan Cinderwind's going to do, and whether or not in that formation do the Leonx Riders turn west to try to counter that, or are they going to march just straight ahead, which means that potentially your carry-on lancer, after putting the blight on the west-facing Leonx Riders, could actually then in the following round hit Megan Cinderwind's Leonx Rider unit with a blight token. And that's where that chess comes in, right? How many moves are you thinking ahead? How many different iterations of what your opponent can do, do you take into account?
Right. And then what is he planning with Aliana? He kept her back there so early on. What is he planning?
Yeah, that is, I'm definitely scratching my head on that. I'd be curious to see what he does. So the Leonx Riders are going to move forward and then reform. So that allows... is that a reform, or was that... I don't see a reform on there. Oh, yep, I'm sorry. They have a white reform.
Yeah.
Totally missed that. So, so yeah, so that kind of allows that gives them a lot of flexibility in terms of facing. So now it does come down. Does the and it's the yep exactly. Here comes the predicted spit.
Yes.
So we're gonna blight that, and then did he modify that with the +1 defense? It looks like it.
He did.
Good call. I sit corrected. So
See, you just have to learn to think like the evil factions.
I can't do it. I just can't do it. So here comes the other Carrion Lancer coming around. This is going to be that's going to put that Carrion Lancer right in the path of Megan Sinduin, and here she comes. Speaking of, so we've got the double march. So we're going to march forward 4, and then we're going to march forward 2, and that really gets them into the action.
Oh boy. Let's see here. If I were Dustin, I would not like the looks of this. So, I'm sorry, I'm just having a little trouble seeing. Are those the archers back there?
Those are the reanimants, the ones that Ankar Maro added 2 trays to. So that is typically that is usually a matchup that if the Leonx Riders get in first, it's usually to their advantage, right? They can start to whittle down the reanimants. However, if that Carrion Lancer ties them up first, and then the reanimants come in and hit them on the flank, very, very dangerous. Maybe, did I read that wrong? Maybe you're right. Maybe those are archers. I saw him measure range there.
Or he could just be looking forward to the future.
That's true. That is true. Just kind of checking range. But yes, if those are archers, and if those are archers, then I expect them to be able to kind of just rain down fire into into Megan Sinduin's unit. So looks like we've got the positioning of the Deepwood archers getting more into that central position, right? To like we talked about, to be able to send out dispatch orders, or dispatch runner, to be able to use the rallying starling. That's going to get them in position, but that makes it really interesting because by marching Megan Sinduin out, you're almost putting her out of range of any of those, and that's a unit that I would think you'd want to have to be able to do that extra attack.
Mm-hmm. I really like the Latari because their heroes are both powerful, awesome women, which is something that we haven't seen a whole lot of in some of the other factions, like the Dakan.
Very true.
But on there is going to be like a Kethra Alak on the side of the Ithuk Yulan. Let's see here.
Yeah, so it looks like we've got one of the archer units kind of marching up. No, just a bunch of measuring going on.
Well, I mean, if you had cool rulers like that, would you not be measuring absolutely everything?
That's true. I think at this point they're just showing off the rulers to the stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got our runes cast here again. This time we've got double stable, double natural.
Oh, this is going to be good for everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. No unstable runes in the mix. So Andrew's gonna toss an extra one, just nope, right back to where it started. He has had no luck with that ability. So they're gonna get their dials set up here for round 3, and this is typically where I start to see a lot of the action. So I'm curious now. Yeah, there's a lot of this is typically a lot of points of measurement. Oh,
yep. Andrew's checking out that carry-on Lancer. I think he's ready to go in for the kill.
This is going to be. This is one of the most exciting rounds, I think, of a typical Runewars match. So they're setting up their dials here. and it looks like, yeah, so if I had to predict here, I think those Leonx riders are going to end up trying to get in early on that Carrion Lancer. I'm not sure if they have the ability to do so. Now, one of the things they could do, and it gives them a little bit of surprise, but not as effective of an offensive strike. So if they were to try to get in, because I don't think they can wait till 7. I think that Carrion Lancer will be long gone. So with initiative 3 or 4, probably 4, looking at the way that the range rulers are on screen. So on their 4 initiative, they can march at 2. That doesn't get them there, which means that they couldn't try to do their charge from that point, especially even with the +1, I think they're still short. It's going to be close. I noticed him measuring. That's probably what he was looking at there. If he did his march at 3 or at 4 and then added his +2, it gets him engaged with the Carrion Lancer. By doing that, it can throw your opponent off, right? Like, so they anticipate, oh, he's going to march. He may not be able to make it at 4, so maybe he'll march at 7 and charge in. I'll be gone before then.
Right, but in that instance, then he doesn't have any charge modifiers on it.
The modifier for...
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were trying to add on the +2 march modifier.
Oh, correct. If he's doing that, so you're correct. He gets a panic token. He is unable to get his... he's unable to get his impact 2, which is obviously important, but it throws your opponent off balance, right? There's this he anticipates, it's kind of the I can surely not choose the glass in front of you moment where it's, is he going to do that? Is he going to charge? If your opponent thinks that it's going to be a late charge at 7, then maybe Dustin decides he's going to try to spit at 6 and then run. Especially now that Megan Sinduin has kind of advanced beyond. So those are archers that were added to earlier. That was my mistake, right? No. It is. Those look like...
What? Back here? Those are archers.
Those are archers. So he did add to the archer unit earlier. So that was my mistake. So yeah, that's going to allow basically the... Carrion Lancer is going to be used as a positional tool to stop Megan Sinduin's advance, and that will allow those archers to kind of rain down on.
Well, I mean, all that means is that Waykar, oh my God, now you got me saying it. Waykar is properly prepared for battle because his units are all well camouflaged.
That is true. That is true.
Actually, I'm seeing some beautiful paint jobs out here.
Oh yes, yeah. The earlier today we had the painting competition. A lot of incredible models showed up. I'm sure it was very difficult for our judges, but nonetheless, tons of incredible looking models on the table this week.
I did actually see a photo of one gentleman who had Carrion Lancers that lit up, and that is just the most amazing thing. So now I think that with my core set, I'm just going to put lights on every single unit.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And so now how would you incorporate that into an Uthuk army?
Oh, glowing red eyes, of course.
Oh, that's true. Yes, they'd look really cool with glowing red eyes.
And maybe a mini fog machine for the scuttling horrors.
Yeah, absolutely. That's impressive.
Or spine threshers.
When
Sorry, they're also known as scuttling horrors.
When you're done with that, I want to see that. So we have the charge from Megan Sinduin into the Carrion Lancer, or not the charge. I'm sorry, the double move. So similar to the. Oh wait, hold on. Nope, I'm looking at a different dial. So
that's the Deepwood Archers dial there.
That is the Deepwood Archers dial. So they are going to move. They move forward, and then they use their skill action to allow the dispatch runner to trigger. So yeah, it looks like those archers are actually doing exactly what they intended. So here's our first attack roll of the day. Wow, look at those dice.
All the hits you could ever want.
4 hits plus a mortal strike and the one surge is not going to do anything by itself.
But considering that you've got a mortal strike on there, I'd say it's a good roll.
So I think he's putting aside the dice he wants to keep. Is he considering re-rolling that no, he's re-rolling just the, yes.
Oh, he's searching for another surge so that they can use their shift ability?
Absolutely, and I admit that's a greedy move, but ended up paying off in the end. So we've got a total of four hits plus a mortal strike. Those are 2 across. So yep, that's going to. There goes the Carrion Lancer very quickly, and this is going to be interesting here with the way that. Yep. So that would they're pulling from some of the Waykar pieces there. I'm not really sure what is coming off that. So it looks like.
So they've inflicted 2 wounds on the archers, lost 2 units because they've only got they can only suffer 1 wound. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and he doesn't have any defense up. It looked like they used the dispatch runner from the archers to use Megan Cinderwind to attack into the Carrion Lancer, which killed that. Now we're looking at the archers attacking back. So they're doing this at 4. 1 hit with 2. So they can automatically blight that. But the reroll, so double hit. So you're looking at 4 damage. With the Leonx Riders, that's going to take out 2 of the rear. Yep. So that'll take out a tray.
But they still have Megan Cinderwind in there, so still.
Yeah, she'll be there for a while. Okay, so yeah, so that's those archers can be effective, and they can just take a beat, right? They have that is a huge unit with potential for Ankar Morrow to come in and kind of just keep adding to them up to a point is going to keep that unit dangerous.
But losing the Carrion Lancer is definitely a significant blow. Oh, I see he's backing off a bit.
Yeah, and
preparing for more ranged attacks. Yep. He's turning 4.
Is this a morale? Maybe this is a morale card we didn't see that's forcing them to turn? I don't. Or maybe they're just actually turning.
In anticipation of a future turn, potentially turning charge from
Yep.
Megan Cinderwind?
Yeah, didn't want to get flanked, so that's probably a better angle than where they had originally. So yeah, this is, here comes the other archer group. They are, looks like, out of range. I think he just checked. So I think
But it's definitely something for Andrew to be wary of in the future.
Yes. Yeah, so it was just short. I think he anticipated those Leonx Riders to come crashing into his, we had talked about it a little bit, where they were going to try an early smash into the Carrion Lancer, but that did not pay off.
Has this all been a bluff? Could he just leave the Leonx Riders there, send an Aliana who can't be targeted with the range?
He's going to send Aliana into the thicket, and that is an interesting move. With the damage coming in, I don't know if it'll actually do any damage to her. She does have the 3 defense. If I'm looking at the defensive of that, I'm not sure that's actually going to. Let's see.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. So now we get the late charge at 7. So he did wait. Make sure to get that full charge in. Really wanted to take advantage of that impact. And here comes the attack roll. That impact 2 also is going to add 2 panic. Mm-hmm. And
So he's really shaking up those dice.
Right,
Sure
yeah. He rolled them out there. So we have, not really sure what the hits were. There we go. So we've got
2 hits, a surge, an accuracy, and morale.
the accuracy is not going to do a whole lot. So the reroll is going to reroll those. Interesting. Again, greedy move on the rerolling of blue. Pays off again.
No risk, no reward, right?
Very true.
And oddly enough, we're seeing a lot of hits on the blue die, which tend to be more for surges.
He tried for that. He really wanted that extra hit on the red, ends up going into morale. So we flip the morale here. He actually does have the 3 to work with. I can't tell what the card itself is, but typically that is 3 is super strong. Oh, it looks like it's the one where it's going to reverse him, and then he's going to have to move at speed 1 away. So that is the Flee in Terror. So the unit performs a shift, or I'm sorry, a reform, and the opponent is making all those decisions. And then the unit performs a speed 2 march directly away. So it basically is fleeing in terror from that Leonx hit.
You know, I could see that. You know, a giant worm facing off against a bunch of giant cats. I would not like to be that giant worm.
Well, the thing that makes that really dangerous is now that it has run away. So the first time the Leonx Riders hit into that, it gives him he has impact 2. So they're getting 2 panic tokens every time he does that. Now that it's run away and is no longer engaged, it essentially means that in the next round they can do the exact same thing.
Right, and it looks like the Carry-On Lancer is facing the exact wrong way of where he wants to be. So they'll also have flanking.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all sorts of bad news for that Carrion Lancer, and I think it looks like he already has 2 wounds on him. So that will finish it off with the archers now that they have them disengaged with no penalty to the Latari player. Very, very smart play.
But Wykar still has plenty of archers for future ranged attacks, though it looks like the Leonx are preparing to end that distance right now.
Yeah, here comes the we will see what that. Here comes the rune toss. So.
All right, so right now we have something very exciting. We are going to be hosting a giveaway. So for the next 2 minutes, anyone who wishes to comment with the hashtag for the swarm can enter to win a set of the Athiculon Army Expansion Core Box along with their Infantry Command expansion, which includes that wonderful Shrieker that I had talked about earlier with his giant lungs. And let's see here. So you can comment as many times as you want. Each person will only be entered once. And we will be declaring the winners later in the stream.
Fantastic. And I think that the way you wanted to say that, though, we need to work on that. I think it was like, for the swarm, like something like that, right? Like, can you give that a try?
Oh, no. Why? For the swarm.
There you go. That was perfect.
I could try my Bane voice or something. I don't know how it would work with the microphone. Like, I was born in the darkness. For the swarm. I think that was probably... And we just lost all of our viewers. Everyone has
everyone
gone away,
just went off the stream. No, that's not true. That's not true. We have tons of viewers. So the runes that were tossed while we're doing the giveaway, it looks like we've got 2 stable and 2 natural. So that is definitely going to. We have Ankar Morrow in the back, and he loves to see double stable runes. So I would be surprised if he didn't start to shift. Well, I guess he doesn't have to shift too far forward because that archer unit is kind of retreating back towards him. So we've got some range checks here. And yeah, Aliana is not going to take any damage from that just based on her defense. So
I'm kind of disappointed. I wanted to really see her out in front, just tearing down skeletons left and right. But he's been playing a little safe with her.
Yeah, it is surprising. This will be the halfway point after this round, and Aliana still hasn't really left too far beyond the starting area of the Latari. So I expect to see her start to make some moves coming up in this round.
I mean, she probably is the ultimate background reinforcement, just having her sit back, allowing your enemy to underestimate her, and then bring her out at the last possible moment to
basically finish them off, right? That was
I thought you were going to say
pounce. Oh, I missed my pounce opportunity. That's sad.
See, I'm trying to help you make terrible jokes,
right?
And you're just not.
And I can't even allow you to let me do that. Like I have to I still miss my cues. So just, I don't know if we had actually mentioned it since the start of the game or for those who are just joining us. The objective is bounty. and it looks like Andrew has chosen Aliana, and we've got the bounty on the reanimants for Dustin. So both units kind of sticking back. That might also kind of feed into why Andrew has held back Aliana, just to make sure that when she does go in, she's not going to get wiped and lose that objective token.
Right, but now that the carry-on lancers are taken care of, he might really unleash her and show off what she can do.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity, right? Like, you've taken out the 2 carrion lancers, so they're no longer going to be an issue. Your reanimants, the reanimants are going to stay back, right? They know that they're going to try to keep back. And so now, since she cannot be targeted by 2/3 of the units out there, and she cannot be targeted by any of the range attacks, that's going to allow her to kind of jump out and get in there without having to worry about being attacked. So it looks like we're just getting some news in. Our previous our other top 4 game has ended.
Nope.
Nope. I'm sorry. I misunderstood that. Oh, our this is our winner for the.
Oh, okay. Sorry, our winner for the giveaway.
For the giveaway.
Okay. So, congratulations to Tyler Tinsley.
Tyler Tinsley.
You are going to be receiving your own set of the Ethuculon core set army box and some super cool demonic units and the infantry command upgrade expansion. So
For a moment, it sounded like you were going to say, Tyler Tinsley, you are going to Disney World, but
you're getting the Ethuk. It's better than going to Disney World.
It is better than Disney World. That's true. All right, so we have this, heading back to the game. It looks like we've got a reroll here, right back into another accuracy. So the 2 damage, or the 2 hits, I should say. So we're up to 300 viewers on the stream. So welcome to everyone who's joining us. Hopefully you're enjoying this match. We've got one more to come after this one for our finals. The winner of this will take to the championship match and the first ever Runewars World Championship.
And hopefully you're prepared for some really bad cat jokes.
I'll try to keep them to the minimum. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with Runewars, you can always go to the Fantasy Flight Games website at fantasyflightgames.com for all the information on all the units in the game, both what has been released, what is coming soon. There is a lot of exciting stuff that is on the horizon, and we've talked a little bit about the Uthuk and some of the other units that are coming. So check it out at fantasyflightgames.com.
So for you personally, what is something you would like to see in the future of Runewars Miniatures game?
Oh, that's hard. I am actually Runewars was my first foray into the Terranoth universe, right? So I don't really know what's available out there. You seem to be a little tighter on the lore. What do you think is coming?
Oh no. Okay.
I've turned it back on you.
Again, I need to really get better about this. Well, I know that what I'm looking forward to later in the stream is we're hosting another giveaway later.
Oh man, how exciting.
Okay. So, I guess for future units, what I really want to see is more demons, more creative demons. The possibilities are endless. And anything that's got a lot of sharp teeth, catching claws, spilling blood, it's going to be a good time.
All right, that's like your foray. You like to delve into the demonic units. Mm-hmm. All right. So it looks like, as we kind of predicted now, here comes Aliana marching out of the thicket and is heading towards those archers and potentially the reanimants behind them. I'm going to be honest. Dustin is going to have to really lay down some archer fire to, yep, there goes the retreat from the reanimants and Ankar Morrow.
But he's running out of room to run away into.
That is true. The table is only so big, and there's only so much space to move back. And everything for the Latari is on a full-on forward march, it looks like. I expect those, both of these units are going to charge in here. Now, the question is, he used that as a modifier. Did he? Doesn't look like he did it as a, oh, there we go, there's the dial. So he just did the march with the turn. And here comes the charge from the other unit. That looks like it's going to hit. And then when they square up, yeah. So that's going to be impact 2. So 2 panic tokens. Yep, there's the signal, the 2 panic tokens. And now we get the roll. I can't tell if that unit has already used their moment of inspiration or if he was able to ready that. So whether or not we'll see here if he adds a white die. So he's got the red, the 2 blue. There he goes. His moment of inspiration has been used, so he will not be able to use it for this attack.
Which means that the Leonx Riders are going to have some nice, tasty bones to chew on.
Very true. And here comes the roll, and let's see what we get.
2 hits.
2 hits. That's pretty good. So it's multiplied by the ranks. Oh, he's re-rolling. Interesting.
Greedy rolls again.
Greedy rolls, but this time less result. So the greedy rolls have finally kind of caught up to Andrew. We'll see if that comes to haunt him later on. So here, flip on the morale cards. The Flee and Terror shows up again.
Oh, no.
Wow.
That is some poor luck there.
So here it goes again. It's now going to turn. And so it does. And then here comes the, yep, he's going to march it. So he's going to stay connected to it, but now on the flank. So now they stay engaged, and they'll get that extra die for the next round's attack. 2 times in a row, Flee and Terror. That is crazy powerful.
And what I'm spotting is a nice little open path to just send Aliana through between the 2 sets of archers straight to those reanimates.
Yeah, that's true. She can just ignore them. Early on we talked about how maybe she would be the one going after the archers, but you're right. She doesn't have to. So we have a tray being pulled from the, yep, there we go. Being pulled from the charging Leonx Riders.
And the die. Oh, Runecast, my bad. Whoa, what was I thinking?
Yeah, we were at the end of the round there. Yeah, that's that round went very quickly. So the reason that those Leonx Riders lost a unit was due to the Demorian Fissure that they are within range of. So basically, for those who weren't here when we read it before each end phase, each unit at range 1 suffers a wound. So that is not, it ignores the defense straight up, so it just goes straight to the wound, and the Leonx Riders only have the 1 wound to take.
Let's see here. In this latest Runecast, I'm seeing a plethora of unstable runes, and one of which is being recast right now. And it's more unstable runes.
More unstable runes. So he continues to try for that natural rune, and it seems like every time he tries right back to the unstable rune. So double stable, 4 unstable, and only 1 natural rune. So they're going to go ahead and set their dials.
Now you see if the Flesh Rippers were in this battle. I know that they have a march that is equal to the number of unstable energy runes in play. So they would be able to go at speed of 4 with this, with modifiers, and then you're just free up to do other things.
Yeah, that's also the rune golems. This is like a perfect. Well, other than would have been better to have no natural rune because they don't care about that. But yeah, they definitely take advantage of this particular rune setup. But sadly, not here.
And with this number of runes, just in general, like this is an ideal setup for Megan Sin to win.
Absolutely. Yeah, I anticipate that the Leonx Riders are going to attack attack on 4. The archers also get to attack on 4, but I'm pretty sure that Andrew Miller has our Latari player has the initiative this round, so he'll be able to go first on 4. Because remember, those reanimants have close quarters targeting. They can still use their ranged weapons against those Leonx Riders while fighting. They won't get any rerolls, though, because they're being flanked. So it is possible that that Dustin wants to reform. He can do so at 2, which will take away one of the die because they will no longer be on the flank, but it will mean that he won't be able to attack this round.
So now the question, is it worth it?
That is a tough question, and that's a big decision. It's hard to not throw dice when you know that you have an opportunity to potentially take away some of your opponent's offensive power, but at the same time, giving the Leonx Riders that extra die can really, especially when you don't have your dial revealed with any kind of extra defense, which you can't actually get on the archers. So it's a tough decision. They might, no, 6 is too late to be able to shift away, so I don't think you'll see that. I would guess that it's either going to be a reform or an attack. Those are the only 2 real options. It looks like reform. No. What are we? Okay, yes.
There's the reform. Okay.
So it was a matter of explanation on how he was going to line up and how it would look. So yeah, so there's the reform at 2 with I'm assuming the rally or skill action. So there is only 40 minutes remaining in the game, though we are midway through round 5. I anticipate both of these players being able to get this game finished before then. Rerolls into the double hits. So this is, we've got some trays being removed here from the Leonx Riders. It was the reanimant archers. And there goes so the Leonx Riders now, down to just a tray and a half. So they no longer have a full reroll on their attack. That's going to be a big difference in terms of what they had prior to had he decided, knowing that he was going to attack. I mean, I don't think there was any question, right, that the Leonx Riders were going to attack that round. So that gave the Y-Car player a lot of information that they could use.
Mm-hmm. I think that the reanimate archers can still come back from this. I think that Y-Car still has a chance.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the great things of the game, right, is that there are ways and there are little moves that can be made. But I will say that it is looking like it is getting further and further away for victory for the Y-Car player.
Right. Especially so, Megan Sinduin is attacking now, I believe.
That's a charge, yep. And they were able to charge in, which is, again, impact 2, and use Moment of Inspiration. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. And then
nope. Yeah, it is 4 hits. Sorry, I thought that you were counting one of the accuracies.
Oh, gotcha. Nope.
My
and then
bad.
3 surges, it looks like. So with the Megan Sinduin actual upgrade, it has for each of the surges you can you're able to spend surges to deal. It looks like it's at range 4, so she's basically able to take all of those surges. So she deals the damage based on the rank, which is going to be 2. So you're looking at 8 damage, and there's no defense on those archers. So that's just going to be 8 of the archers gone. On top of that, for each enemy, for each surge, each enemy at range 1 to 4 of the defender is going to suffer a damage per surge spent. So the question becomes, from 1 to 4, that pretty much means all of those units are going to take 4 damage. So the reanimants will take 4, and 2 surges. There's 2 surges there. So they'll each take 2.
Yeah, that's going to hurt. I mean, Megan is such a skilled warrior. Let's see. After she's actually only a half-elf, but she's still probably the most skilled warrior in the Latari army. So her mother was a human. Her father was an elf. And then she actually saw her mother murdered at
Whoa.
the hands of the Othukyalan, who her father helped bring into power. So, filled with a sense of guilt and vengeance, she wandered across the globe, learning the arcane arts and martial prowess from teachers all over the world, and now she has returned to the Latari, where she captured the heart of the Elven King.
So she's the queen then?
Yes?
Very cool. Well, she is not afraid to be at the forefront of the battle and really mix it up from the front of her unit.
Right. The only thing that I wish I could change about Megan Sinduin, her moose has no name.
No name.
No name. He is a no-name moose. He's very sad. He's like the cat from Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh,
So-
that is sad.
Maybe once like the Latari gain their forgiveness and they ascend to the Empyrean, then the moose will finally get a name. I don't know. Hey guys, put in the comments, what should the moose be named?
Oh, we're gonna get some good. I'm really interested to see what kind of responses we get.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of alliteration. So Milton the moose would be a good one.
Okay.
Um,
Hashtag Milton. So it looks like he so effective, Andrew Miller, using those Deepwood archers to get another attack off with Megan Sinduin against those reanimate archers. A reroll here, so right now we're looking at 3 hits plus the morale. So he's going to just take out 6 more of the reanimate archers, and I'm assuming spend all 3 of the morale and flip what we have here. So betrayal would be perfect in this situation. He can spend it on that, or he's probably deciding whether or not it's going to be worth it. Nope, he decides to instead use Discipline Breakdown, which is discard an upgrade from that unit. If it was a figure upgrade, remove its corresponding figure. So it looks like he's going to take away the close quarters targeting, which means that they will not be able to fire their bows in melee combat. They're going to have to use their much weaker melee attack with just the red.
yeah, as you can see, Megan's got a lot of anger. She is warming up. Oh, yes. Okay, so we have got some wonderful proposed names. We've got Bullwinkle, Bob Joe
Makes sense.
Socks. That's 3 separate names.
3 separate names.
Actually, you know what? Let's combine them. Bob Joe Socks.
Hashtag Bob Joe Socks.
Moose McMooseface.
Samoose.
Well, hey, how about we change like Samoose to like a Z, so like Zamoose.
Zamoose?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Oh, Ferdinand the Moose. Oh, did you ever read Ferdinand the Bull when you were younger?
I did not.
Oh, it was cute. And Swarmy McMoosington.
Swarmy McMoosington. All right. So yeah, keep those names coming, everybody. We
Currently,
we love to see the creativity.
Bob Joe Socks is the name to beat, I think.
Hashtag Bob Joe Socks. We're gonna do a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So looks like we've got Aliana still continue to creep up. I don't know exactly where she's at. He's covering her up a little bit, probably positioning properly. So he's trying to get in. Okay. So yeah, he's going to try to hit those archers on the flank, which is going to, between the Leonx Riders and Aliana beating on those, at this point, let me take a look and see point-wise where we're at. I don't think we're going to see either. If I had to, I would be surprised to see either of the bounty units fall in this game. I could be wrong, but at this point, it does feel like we will not see that. So that means that it's really going to come down to who has what left on the board, right? At the end of round 8, those reanimants with Ankar Morrow are a.
Well, we've got a couple extra archers.
Oh, yep, that's true. I always do discount what Ankar Morrow can do to to the other units on the table. So they
Well,
can just
that's
keep
the-
sending them out.
Yeah, that's the benefit of having soldiers who are literally just skeletons. They break apart, you just put them back together, and they're fine.
Right.
Oh, one guy's got a broken skull, and just toss that aside. Go grab another skull. But if there's no skulls to be had, you just have to go kill one of your enemies. There you go, extra skull.
Perfect.
And maybe that's more of an Athuk thing rather than Waykar. Or Waykar. Ah!
Yes, I've now infected you with the Y-car, but no, it is Y-car. It is Y-car. By the end of this, hopefully we can both say it right. So the runes get cast for round 6. Of course, we can always get them retossed.
We've got some more natural energy for the Latari and the one stable that we're always going to see. And then we've also got a blank.
If I had to guess, yep, he's going to take the stable rune, try to pull that out into a natural. Otherwise, he's just going to allow Unkar Morrow. Nope.
It's
No
a repeat
luck.
of last round again, where you
It
just
is.
keep casting same thing.
It is. But yeah, that 2 stable runes means that Unkar Morrow is going to be able to do another 2 trays of archers back to that unit and
Which
just
is
continue to
exactly
reinforce.
what Waykar needs at this point.
Yes, they need to find a stable base with which to fight from. However, losing their close quarters targeting, I cannot stress enough that they drop one of their attack dice now, so they are fighting basically crippled against a very strong Megan Sinduin-led Liang's Rider group.
How can they be crippled? They're just skeletons.
It's true, but they can no longer use their bows.
Oh no!
Oh, the
The bad jokes have switched animals. No, we enjoy the compliment that we are amoosing.
we are amoosing. Thank you.
Puns. No, why?
So wait, now moose don't pounce, right? I can't make that joke and like just combine it, right?
Well, this isn't a normal moose. This is like an elven moose. He can pounce. He can pounce if he wants to.
So now he can pounce if he wants to. He can leave his friends
Stand
behind. Oh,
I mean,
boy.
he's friends with the Leonx riders, so his friends do pounce. Because if friends don't pounce, then they ain't no friends of mine.
Oh, we are just we are devolving into music puns and everything else.
It's all down here, hell from here, guys.
Thank you all for staying on board. We're really excited to have you all.
And thank you for pushing us further into the pit of madness.
Yes, we do blame you. So we have, so this is going to be, this other reanimate archer group cannot be discounted. They have taken a almost full Liang's Rider unit down to a single tray.
That is impressive.
I would not have anticipated that when I saw that matchup coming. I thought for sure that we would have seen that unit shredded. That really changes the dynamic of these next couple rounds.
But Andrew still has his own archers in the back there that he can pull in for some added support.
That's true, although he's mostly been using them to, see, this is the Megan Sinduin they're definitely going to use the reroll on
The accuracies, yeah.
Those are useless.
I mean, the skeletons are kind of like right there. The accuracy, you don't really need that.
So it was interesting. He decided to keep the 2 sides with the morale. So he's really trying to dig into that morale deck and really punish.
I think he's trying to get Run in Terror again.
Flee in Terror. I can't imagine
Moose lips sink Waykar ships.
It's infectious, I'm telling you.
Oh, man. Keep them coming, guys. I love it. I hate it, but I love it.
Yeah, we're supposed to be entertaining you. We're glad you're also entertaining us. So we have, it looks like, it becomes this battle, right? How quickly can Megan Sinduin eliminate that archer group while Unkar Morrow just decides, hey, look, I'm putting back 2 more trays.
Oh, and hey, look, he's putting back 2 more trays.
Perfectly timed. I had them do that right at that moment. They held it back for the comment. So we've got the Liang's Riders going to do their attack. They've got the built-in morale. So he's definitely really playing a morale-heavy strategy. And he's kind of been doing that all day. Doubling down on it here, though, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The end of the round is going to be interesting because that archer group, so it's going to take some damage, but you've got wounds coming in from that Demore and Fisher, and that basically means that if the reanimants can hold out, honestly, you're going to lose. There's going to be a lost Leonx Rider at the end of this round. Like, that's just happening. Mm-hmm. Which means that unit probably, what do we have here? Betrayal.
Flee and tear, flee and tear, flee and tear. Come on.
Looked like another discipline breakdown. But I didn't see a flee and tear. I definitely saw the betrayal.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
That's fair. That's fair. So here come the archers again. And yep, just as... so they are going to once again just give Megan Sinduin that extra strike. So we have the attack coming here, I'm assuming, from Megan Sinduin's Leonx Riders into that archer group that just got reinforced. Ooh, a blank on the red. That always smarts.
Mm-hmm. Do they have reroll?
Yep, he definitely has a second rank there, so full reroll if he needed it. One hit, it's respectable. So the 3 damage is the 3 hits is gonna translate into 6 damage. That takes out most of the 2 trays that just got brought back in, and then the 3 surges is going to allow the Megan Sinduin upgrade ability to. Oh no! Actually, that is completely shut down this turn because there are no unstable runes, so that's actually not going to have any effect. Those extra surges are probably then going to be used for the extra damage, I assume, and that's what pulled out the full 2 trays. So. And a little bit extra. So yeah, so we started with a basically 3x3 archer group, and we're going to finish with a 3x1 tray archer group. Mm-hmm. Slowly but surely.
Well, I mean, with a necromancer just hanging out in the background, this battle can just go on forever.
That is true. Now, this is interesting. I wonder if he anticipated that the archers would have retreated, possibly based on what, he had a pretty decent amount of Leonx Riders into their front, maybe expected them to shift backwards, and then the attack coming in from Aliana, but instead preparing to pound for the next round.
Well, I mean... She is the leader of the Leonx Riders. She's been separated from them for long. Oof. I mean, she really just has to go in there and, inspire. I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. She is setting the pace. I don't know if I would have actually turned them on, those archers. Maybe with the Leonx Riders are almost wiped. But it looks like the swing back, that was a really good die roll. From that archer group that is flailing, with only the one eye still rolling 2 damage, and just based on their rank, able to wipe out an entire rank of Megan Sinduin's Leonx Riders. So surprisingly, we've seen now the 2 archer groups, which we thought would crumble under the weight of the Leonx Riders, holding their own.
Mm-hmm. Well, as they crumble, they arise once more. So you could say that you knock them down, but they get up again because you're never going to.
Oh, we're just going to keep the music puns and jokes going all night, folks. So make sure you stick around. So we have here, is that the rune toss? Looks like it was a new rune toss, yes. So.
And now we got all those unstable runes that Megan was longing for in the last round.
Absolutely. Still those double stable runes, though. So Ankar Morrow just continuing to be able to reinforce that archer group. And I'll be honest, You know, I mentioned a couple. I don't even know if it was the beginning of last round or 2 rounds ago that it was looking bleak for our Y-Car, but it certainly has shifted this last round.
His link to the arcane is strong.
That is true. Well, so then I guess the Latari need to pull from the strength of the earth to, or from Terranoth itself. What is you're our lore champion here? What's the? Do we know what the? It's not called Earth. It's.
Well, if you're referring to the ground,
Yes.
yeah.
I guess that's true. That's touche. All right, I will.
Terranoth is the realm. It includes the 12 baronies. There's also the Mistlands, which is where Y-Car is from. Ha! I said it correctly this time. Then to the east, east is the Rudarklands. So that's where the Thukulon thrive. And then to the south is the Amelin Forest, which is where the Latari live.
Okay. All right. So then, yeah. So we will say ground. Earth still works. They need to draw strength from that.
Yes.
Okay. So we're really closing in. It's been interesting to watch the battle kind of start from both sides of the map and kind of close in on really this small little portion that's left of these two forces.
Mm-hmm. Especially with those bits of landscape that were just placed right in the middle, so you had to maneuver around them right away.
Yeah, that's true. There was a lot of work getting to this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and we see here this shot actually is perfect, giving us letting us know we did lose another Leonx rider, so there's just that single rider left, two defense.
But I mean, everyone loves an underdog or undercat. You guys can't see it, but I'm doing finger guns.
She is. It's true. Can confirm. So now you have to start thinking, if you're the Latari, what is your move here? What are you going to do that's going to turn the tide back to your favor?
I think that he's really Andrew's really just got to get that background group of Deepwood archers in there. So I think that he's going to try and support Megan Sinduin, and let's hear just leave Aliana to try and handle those reanimates or the reanimate archers by herself for now, and then once the second group with Megan Sinduin is taken care of, bring those Deepwood archers over and give her support, leaving the reanimates for last. I think. I could be wrong. This is my prediction.
All right, and we will see if your prediction comes true here as the new round starts. So, looks like we have a. Yeah, this is me drawing timeout to see what he grabs. There we go. He's placing his last. True, that's true. He did not have Aliana placed yet for his dial. So double check on all of the dials. Everything at this point becomes so crucial, right? Every dial choice is so important.
Right. I suppose except for Maru, because we can probably guess he's going to bring back more archers again.
Yes, that is probably predictable.
Actually, I don't have the reanimates moved?
Slightly. They're just kind of doing a small little dance around. There we go with the reform, and here comes the. Let's get those out of the way. So, the blank. So the opposite of his last. We do his reroll. Still blanking. So nothing there. That has to be with just that single Leonx rider sitting there, and a potentially easy way to just eliminate it. You've now left that unit on your flank as you turn to face what you assume is a charge coming in from Aliana. And that charge is going to hit. She now does have that automatic mortal wound, so that just happens. And now this is going to get rid of Ambush Predator. This is the first time she's actually engaged anyone in combat. So she's going to get lethal X, where X is the current round. Now this is the other reason why Andrew held her back so long, is because now in round 7, she's going to get lethal 7. What that means is it's going to be 7 is going to be added to the damage total before wounds are calculated. So with that strike, we've got now. Aliana does not have any. She's not brutal, so her threat is still only going to be 1. So he's got to try to get as many damage out there or hits out there as possible. I always say damage. My friend Eric would, he always would correct me every time.
Well, I'm correcting you on
rule.
Waycare Wycar, so I mean, my correcting job is being handled.
Yes, I appreciate you.
I mean, my correcting quota for the day.
I give you plenty to correct me on. So.
Like the fact that you like the Dakan as opposed to the Athuk. That needs to be corrected.
Now these are personal attacks. This just isn't right. We're just, having friendly conversation, and now there's an attack on the Baronies of the Dakan. I feel slighted.
Right.
So, an entire rank taken out for the beyond a rank. So it really comes down to that lethal 7 is so powerful. Waiting until this round to be able to pounce on that. That wasn't intended this time, actually. And then we allow the lone Leonx rider in the back to close in since they lost their engaged edge, or their contacted edge. So now it comes down to how can what is the attack from Megan going to look like? Looks like we have a judge question here. Answered quickly and moved on. So here comes the strike from Megan Cinderwin's Leonx group. And
actually, with the amount of damage that Aliana is able to inflict, she might not need the support of the Deepwood Archers. They might be able to go right past handling the reanimate archers that Megan Cinderwin is currently facing off against and head right for the reanimates, just chilling in the back corner there.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, right? So we're removing this tray. However, we can assume that with the reanimates back there in Uncarmaro, he's going to add 2 more trays to that rank, just continuing to hold Megan Cinderwin into place. It looks like, yeah, here comes the. Yeah, this was the extra surges, or the. I'm sorry. This is the damage that Megan is kind of flinging at those reanimates back there, especially with there's only 1 natural rune up, so those reanimates are only going to be able to add one of those figures back. Interesting move, reinforcing the other archer group this time. That's an.
Oh, now I feel so bad because I thought he might do that, and then I didn't say anything because I was like, well, I don't want to sound dumb.
Oh, see, now here, he made his decision. He changed his mind. He heard you.
Dang it. Come on. And then I was like, oop. I just can't win.
Well, and it would have been an interesting move only because by doing that, you almost guarantee you can assume, right, that the Deepwood Archers are going to use their skill action like they always do to give Megan Cinderwin another attack. So if you leave that exposed and don't reinforce them, it's a good chance Megan Cinderwin's dropping that and may have a good chance of getting in on Uncarmaro.
Right, but this late in the game, is it more worth it to just hold off Megan Cinderwin where you probably don't have a whole lot of a shot there, or try and take out those Leonx riders where you may fare a better chance?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking at points a little bit here. So some things to note. This lone Leonx rider is not going to count for the unit points. It will still cover the point cost of a moment of inspiration and bullpenning, right? So that's going to be a total of 8 points for that unit is all that they'll have left on the board. And then that archer unit, the Deepwood Archers, are sitting pretty much full, right? So they haven't lost any trays yet. So they're sitting at their 30 points plus another 49. And Megan Cinderwin's group is down to just the 18 for the unit at 2, along with the 8 for Bullpennin and Moment of Inspiration, plus another 10 for Megan Sinduin herself. So we're looking at a total of 59. Carry the 1. No, I'm just kidding. What are we looking at here? This is actually times 2. So, boy, nothing like doing math under pressure, right?
I was an English major. I don't do math. Math does not like me. Let's see here. In my parents' house, there is a wall that is dented in a couple places from times I have thrown my calculator. And as I progressed in math classes, the calculators got bigger, so did the dents. Actually, I used to have these like wall stickers, so I could have super bright colors on my wall without my parents actually having to buy this awful paint. So I would just adjust the placement of some of those. And then it wasn't until my parents moved that my mom realized what I had been doing for like 10 years. And by that point, you know, I lived a safe distance away.
So if I'm doing my math correctly, and I would not trust any of that at home, by the way, but it looks like the Latari still have 93 points on the board. That's comparative to, oh, hold on, we here. So this is our attack roll.
Just one lonely die.
Just that one lonely red die. And that's what happens when you lose at close quarters.
But for one lonely red die, it is doing very well for itself. It's a surge and a hit as opposed to a blank.
Oh, see, yeah, this is, and by the way, this is why you don't trust my math at home. Completely forgot to add in Aliana. So that's quite a bit of points. So it actually looks like 135. Yeah, don't trust my math. I'm sure I'm wrong on all of this. This is just me trying to do this quickly. And looking at Waykar, so
Waykar.
Waykar.
Haha.
You got
yes,
me.
I got you.
You got me. So they're looking at, looks like that unit with Ankarmaro is still worth 46. The Archer group that is engaged with Aliana is not worth any points other than the Standard Bearer, the close quarters targeting, so that's 6. And then I'm not sure if that's the one with the wind or the fire rune, to be honest, from here. So that's either, let's call that plus another 12.
And unfortunately, they don't get points for just looking cool, which they do.
They do look great.
That Standard Bearer especially.
Yeah, absolutely. No, both players have done a great job at painting up these armies.
Yeah, the Deepwood Archers have silver hair, I believe, rather than white, which, you know, I've just seen a lot of the concept art in my time, and everybody seems to be brunette, so I really like that change. And actually, that's just one of my favorite parts about Runewars Miniatures game, is that you can customize the pieces however you want. You can create your own, like, what, armor design? What is the word I am looking for?
Color scheme, or like, your own personalized kind of, yeah, why can't either of us think of that word?
I don't know. They have, I mean, every faction has their standard bearer, so you can create your own insignia to put on there. And I know that the Deepwood Archers, they have different uniforms. That's the word I was looking for. Uniforms. Depending on even like which part of the Amelin they're stationed in.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're in the capital city, they have like sky blue and white. Whereas if they're like the standard Deepwood Archers, and they have the green and brown. If they're from like the Bloodwood, they have bright red, which I think is how Andrew decided to customize his archers. And it's the possibilities are endless.
Well, and what's really cool about that, right? So like typically when you think of the Latari elves and you see a lot of the imagery, you typically see them in that green and brown, those very earthly colors. I love the fact that Andrew's used the red tones in there. Definitely more unique look.
Right. I like the idea of maybe once I get my flesh rippers, maybe just painting them bright pink because I can. And I mean, there's nothing more terrifying than some bright pink hellhounds.
That is quite true. I would be terrified of bright pink hellhounds. So it looks like that lone archer group, reanimate archer group in between Aliana and the Liang Riders finally met its end. It put up a brave fight for a very long time, but having eliminated that, that is somewhere between 12 or 13 points that were lost from that. Since it was already down to the one tray, the unit itself, the unit cost itself didn't matter, but losing those upgrade points is a huge blow. So if I'm doing my calculations correctly, it's still
great phrase.
Yeah. So 135, it looks like, are the points that that Andrew Miller has right now on the Latari, and it looks like we lost either 12 or 13. So it's either going to be 90 or 91 points. So it's not a huge spread. It's still a fairly close game. If that reanimate archer unit is able to take out Megan Sinduin, that would be a huge point swing. So this is the final round. If everyone, this is what it all comes down to. So these points are so precious, and doing math on this is part of this strategy at the end of the game here. There is only 5 minutes left in the round, so we are going to take this one really close to time, and we will see. So that pulls some of those archers out.
It all comes down to this. This is the time to pull out all the stops. It's go big or go home.
You've been waiting all game to say that, haven't you?
Well, I mean, like, I pulled out my terrible Bane impression earlier. I needed to redeem myself a little bit.
That's right. Well, it was awesome. How are we? So we still are waiting for what was the moose name that we had decided? Hashtag.
Bob Joe Socks.
Bob Joe Socks. Hashtag Bob Joe Socks. So we're still looking for more input for moose names for Megan Sinduin's moose, the unnamed moose.
Will Bob Joe Socks survive? Will he lead the Latari to glory?
Only time will tell, but definitely this moose will pounce its way to victory.
Oh, no.
We're having too much fun with this. No, we can't have too much fun.
No such thing.
No such thing. Agreed. So it looks like they're setting I can't tell if they're looking at, some of the dials are down. The dials are down, actually. So it looks like they're just wrapping up. Okay, here we go. This is where they're starting to do their math here and see where it all ends out.
Oh, so you can see if you were right or not.
Yeah, I'm sure my math is wrong.
Let's see here. The wall is a pretty good distance away. If not, you can, well, we'll see if you can hit it with your calculator.
Well, my calculator is my phone, so I don't want to
So I see no problem with this logic.
My wife might disagree. So we've got the handshake. Looks like all the point tally has been done. And let's see if we can get a final tally officially.
The moose survives. He will fight another day.
About a 50-point swing. That's close to my numbers. I had a 45-point swing, 44 to 45-point swing, so I was at least close. So yeah, we're getting the official number. We should have those to everybody here shortly. But unless I'm doing my math horribly wrong,
Which is possible.
Which is possible, yes. We'd like to put out that caveat. It is possible. But it looks like Andrew Miller and the Latari Elves will be joining a currently unknown opponent in the final up. So that was an exciting match. Lots of destruction. Some things that didn't pan out exactly the way we thought it would.
No, but I mean, we can't see the future. We like to believe that we can, but we
Yeah,
can't.
it's disappointing. We can't. I had hoped.
We found some beautiful names for the moose.
We did. Hashtag
Bob Joe Socks.
Bob Joe Socks. Yes. We'd already forgotten it. No, that's not true. We will never forget Bob Joe Socks. And make sure you stay tuned as well. Keep in tune here. We are going to be coming back here shortly for the final match of the evening.
And there will be another giveaway during that time?
Yes, there will, absolutely. So we've already given away one Uthuk Yulan.
Yulan.
Wow,
You've already got
I'm gonna mess all of them up.
no.
I'm just gonna do it on purpose now. No, that's not true. That would be terrible. So we've already given away one Uthuk Yulan core set.
Army core set. And the infantry command unit upgrade.
This is why you should be doing that part. So yeah, so if you stay tuned during the final match, we'll be doing another giveaway, and we will make another new. They will be another. What would you call that? They've joined your forces there. They've joined the.
Join your ranks. Join your faction.
Yeah, your faction, but like I want something with like emotion and power behind it. Like they've joined the coven of the. I don't know if that's a thing in the.
They have joined the ranks of the witches of the blood coven.
There you go. Absolutely. So yeah, definitely make sure you stay tuned to that. We are getting, it looks like, the details on the other game that is coming in here shortly. So pretty soon we should be able to tell you what the matchup is going to be for the finals. So it's going to be exciting. I'm definitely interested to see. The other game actually went to time, so it is still going on, and we won't have the details of that quite yet. But as soon as we get them, we will make sure to let you know. So the other that was a Latari match, wasn't it?
Yes, I believe so. This was the last hope for the Deathborn Legion.
So that means that I have less chance now for the rest of the stream to mispronounce Wykar.
I'm sure that we can still put a few chances in there.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find a way for me to mess some pronunciation up. From now on, you're also
and apparently, since Yulan is also becoming a problem.
Yeah, I've just, I'm going to just take some notes about what I need to, how I need to write or say Yulan. I don't know why that's so hard. But we do want to let you know that we're going to be back at about 5:50 Central Standard Time for the final after a short player break. And they will, that'll be the set time for the final matchup between two Latari. So either way, it looks like a Latari is going to be taking home the prize.
But with that logic, they'll also be losing the day.
That's true. But now here's...
it's going to be Latari versus Latari, brother slaying brother.
And nobody wins in that matchup, right?
Exactly.
That's just a sad day for the Latari. But whoever does win that match will get will receive the greatest prize in gaming, the ability to design their own card. I wonder what a Latari player would think would be a good card for design purposes.
Oh boy. Well, in the lore guide, I know that they have Pegasi. So that could be cool.
That would be really cool.
But I mean, my predictions have so far been pretty terrible today, so don't count on that.
Yeah, do not come to us for predictions. We are not soothsayers as much as we hope. So we are. As soon as that final match is over, we will get details. Looks like we have another. News note coming in. Oh nope,
we don't.
It is not the final thing. So, but we just wanted to thank everybody for joining us on the stream.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
And coming up with cool moose names. That's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. So, but yes, make sure you check back into the stream around 5:50 Central Standard Time, and you'll be able to check out the final match between Latari and Latari, and we'll be back in
about 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Hope to see you then.
Definitely.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in.